there is a small fire in the lab and you are comfortable and know how to use the fire extinguisher, you may use the fire extinguisher right here inside the door of each of our lab spaces. Myself and Ben are trained as well as the GTAs on how to use the fire extinguisher, and so if you are too, by all means, you may use it. If you're at all uncomfortable, we would rather you get out of the building. We like you way more than we like Beavis Hall, we promise you that. And so what you will do if there is a fire, how to get out of the building, there are exits in each of the 4 corners of the building. As you're exiting the building, if it's convenient for you to grab your book bags or other personal items, if it's really close nearby you and you can grab it in a couple of seconds, please go ahead and take that with you. Otherwise, we will shut all of the doors to the labs, and so things will be locked inside and protected, and we'll be able to come back and get them once we're told we're able to do so. So to get out of the building, once we get outside, the place that we go to meet is across the footbridge that goes into the Carmack parking lots, and you will see one of those emergency towers with the blue light on top, and that's where we will all go to meet. If the fire alarms aren't already sounding, please pull the fire alarm pulls on your way out of the building. You will find them next to each stairwell in the 4 corners of the building, as well as one in the long hallway, right, that connects right between the labs. So please give that a tug on your way out so we can let other people know to get out of the building as well. Once we meet at the tower with the blue light on top, we need everyone to please stay there until they say it's okay for us to leave. As much as we want to go to the coolest place for breakfast, maybe, I don't even know where the coolest place for breakfast is these days. But as much as we want to leave and go do that, we really need everyone to stay at that blue light until the fire marshal says it's okay for us to leave. If somebody does leave before they're supposed to, the fire marshal or the firefighters will ask me how many people were in our class, and if we're missing somebody, then the firefighters will be going through potentially a burning building looking for you while you're enjoying your pancakes, and that's not cool. So please hang out at the meeting spot until they say it's okay to leave, and then we can all together go get pancakes, and that'll be way more fun. If we encounter another emergency where we need to call 911, then the best thing to do is call it on a landline phone, and that goes for anywhere on campus. So the landline phone in this lab is right down on the wall down there. And the reason we want to use the landline phone is because all you have to do is dial 911 and it'll ring directly across the street to Blankenship Hall to their dispatchers. And you don't even have to say anything. They'll know exactly what room and building your call's coming from and can have somebody dispatched to us within a minute or 2. If you use your cell phone, that could go to any dispatch around Ohio or maybe even somewhere outside of Ohio. So we would have to tell them where we are, and then they would figure out we're on Ohio State campus, transfer the call to Blankenship Hall to their dispatcher, and send the help. And so you can see how that could take a little bit of extra time. So anywhere on campus, we will always get the quickest response if we can use the landline phone. However, if that's not an option, then please, by all means, use your cell phone to try to get the help here as quick as we can. If we unfortunately find ourselves in another active shooter situation, please remember the 3 things that we're supposed to do: run, hide, and fight. So there is a video that Ohio State has put out that does a really great job of what to do in these types of situations, and we really encourage you to go back and revisit that video and watch it every so often so that you are as familiarized as possible with all the options you have for keeping yourselves and each other safe. Our number 1 goal here is to keep you all safe. And so if we are in this sort of situation where we get an active shooter alert from Ohio State, here's what we'll do. So first thing is run. We will just get out of the building, get as far away from campus as possible. You do not have to go meet at the blue light. Don't wait around. Go straight for the pancakes. Go wherever you got to go to get away and into safety. If running is not an option for us, then the second thing to do is hide. All of our doors in our labs lock automatically when we pull them shut, so we would just need your help to pull all the doors shut in the lab. They will lock behind us. The only people that have access to swipe into these labs are myself and Ben and our GTAs, and so it should be a really secure way to keep us safe inside. We'll want everyone to silence their cell phones, and then we will wait it out until we have an all clear that we can leave the building. Worst case scenario is that we would have to fight, and if that happens, we will do whatever we can to keep you all safe. If you watch that video, there's some really great things that you can do to try to counteract if we do have to do the fight stage. So please do us a favor, and we will do everything we can to help keep you all safe. We welcome you to bring food and drink to your lab sessions. We understand that a lot of the labs are scheduled over maybe breakfast, lunch, snack time, what have you. And so it's no problem if you ever want to stop for a few moments and have a snack. What we do ask for you to do, though, is leave all food and drink out into the hallway. So you'll probably see some drinks, my drinks out there right now. We ask you to stay out in that hallway. You can eat your food, have something to drink, come back in the lab, and keep doing what you need to. Once you finish with whatever it is that you're eating, please throw that container away in the hallway. Whatever you do, do not bring the empty container into the lab to throw it away. If you throw something away in the lab, even if you didn't eat it in the lab, when we get inspected, they will look inside our trash cans in the lab, and if they see any evidence of food or food wrapper, they will assume that food was eaten in the lab. And something really terrible happens. If they find this, we get a violation. They yell at me. I yell at Ben, and Ben begins to cry. And it is the worst thing in the entire world. So please, please, please throw your food, wrappers, and whatnot in the hallway and not inside the lab, and everyone will stay happy. When you're in the lab, there are several things that you wear or can wear to help keep you safe. First thing is that you must wear closed-toed shoes. Please come to lab wearing closed-toed shoes. We offer 3 types of personal protective equipment in the lab, and those are safety glasses, which in this lab you will find hanging on the wall right here. We also have lab coats. These are disposable. They can just be worn right over your clothing. We will let you know in which labs the lab coats are required. The safety glasses are required in all of our labs here in BME. We also have nitrile gloves in many different sizes, and pretty much every lab that we have here, you will need to wear the gloves as well.
Okay, gloves. Gloves serve 2 main purposes. Everybody knows one of the purposes. It's to protect yourself from whatever you're doing. If you're getting something out of a hot oven, you want to wear a glove. If you're trying to catch a line drive, you want to wear a glove so it doesn't hurt your hand. You also want to wear gloves so that whatever you're experimenting on doesn't get on your skin and hurt you. But another main thing that gloves do is they protect your experiment from you. So if you're doing something, if you're measuring small amounts of protein, you don't want protein to get into your experiment. If you're trying to keep something sterile in a biosafety cabinet, you don't want to infect that sterile environment. So you always want to keep your gloves clean. They are only as good as they stay clean. If you're constantly picking up your phone, checking to see who just texted you, swiping right, you've now got stuff on your gloves that can get into your experiment. If you're using a computer or laptop, you can get stuff on your gloves that will then get in your experiment. So you always want to be aware of where your gloves are and don't touch anything. If you do, simply take the glove off and put a new glove on. That's why you often see surgeons walking around like this. They want to just be aware that their hands are clean and sterile and they're not going to touch anything. So gloves serve the 2 main purposes. Lastly, never wear gloves outside of the lab. People outside the lab don't know what you're doing. If they see you in gloves and PPE, they're thinking you're weaponizing Ebola and you're going to kill them. So they will call EHS, EHS will call us, and we'll all get in trouble. Also, you may have protected yourself from something in the lab. It's on your gloves, it protected you, and your gloves serve their purpose. But now if you wear them out into the hall and you run upstairs to, say, Corey's office, whatever on your glove will now be on her doorknob, and eventually Corey can get sick. And that's the end of the glove talk.
Even when wearing safety glasses, something may happen that you get something into your eye. If that happens, we have eye wash stations in both of the labs. So for this lab, the eye wash station is located next to the sink. And the way that you use this is you pull it up like this. You don't have to worry about taking the caps off the top. The water pressure will do that for you. And I'm going to point it down so I don't make a huge mess. But all you do is pull the lever in. So if you were using that to flush out your eyes, and imagine putting your face in there, letting the water hit your eyes and hope good things happen for you. It gets all the whatever was into your eyes out for you. What I also just did right now is a weekly eye wash station test. Yes, that should be done every single week, and it should also be logged. So you'll see up here on the wall, eye wash test record, and simply it gets tested like this. It only takes a few seconds. I date it, I initial it, and I'm not the only one that should be responsible for that. Everybody working in the lab is responsible for testing the eye wash station. So whether it's the PI, whether it's a lab supervisor, whether it's graduate students, whether it's undergrads, whoever's in that lab is responsible for making sure that weekly test gets done. And as undergraduate students, you should really take this to heart, especially when you're out working in labs across campus. Others are likely not thinking about the lab eye wash stations because they are focused on getting their dissertations done, they are focused on maybe getting their next grant funding if they're the PI, and it's usually the students that are in the labs day to day that are at the most risk of getting something into their eye. So really take it on yourself to be testing those eye wash stations every week for your own safety. So you saw that it only takes a couple seconds. What that test entails is to turn it on, and there were three main things that I was looking for. One was water pressure, so it must be a pretty high pressure like you saw there so that it's able to get in and flush out your eyes. There's also looking to make sure that the water wasn't cloudy, it didn't have any debris in it, it didn't smell funky or potentially have something in it that could make my eyes worse. The third thing, you might have noticed I ran my finger through the water, and that was checking the temperature. You don't want it to be scalding hot, you don't want it to be freezing cold. If you're testing it and you notice anything like this, or maybe even something I didn't mention that just seems off, make sure to let whoever's in charge of the lab know so that they can call in the proper maintenance for that and get that fixed for you. If you're in a lab and one of your lab partners or lab mates gets something in their eye, please be a really good human being and help guide them to the eye wash station. It's very likely that they can't see very well, and it's kind of a maze to find yourself over to the eye wash station and use it properly. So please help guide them, help them use it. You get the added unintentional benefit of even holding their head down in the water, which might be kind of fun. So please help each other out, and we can all be safe in the lab. The eye wash station and the tissue lab is slightly different, but the idea is still the same. So when you use this, you don't need to take the caps off in this one either. And the way that it works, instead of squeezing, you just push the paddle. So when I push that in, the water pressure lets the caps come off, and then you just stick your face down in there.
Sharps containers. Every sharp needs to go in a container like this. They're hard plastic. They should be around the lab. They're very simple to use. The lid just rotates like this, and you put your sharp into that and close the lid back. If you have a needle, if you're using a syringe with your needle, once you take the cap off, like so, you're not allowed to recap the needle. EHS is afraid that you're going to stab yourself or poke yourself or do some other harm to yourself by trying to recap the needle. So never recap the needle. You can then use the needle for whatever you want, and then the whole apparatus can go in the sharps container. No need to try to take the needle off or anything like that. Everything like it goes in. Once these become full, let myself or Tanya know. We'll have EHS come and pick them up. That's the simple use of the sharps containers.
If something happens that you need a Band-Aid, so something minor, small cut, scrape, something like that, you can help yourself to what Ben likes to call the boo-boo box or the first aid kit. And this lab is just right around the corner next to the fire extinguisher, and it's in the same place in the other lab as well. It's got basic things like Band-Aids in it. Help yourself or let us know, and we can help you access things inside it too.